Welcome to the egcfpodcast, where we have in-depth conversations about topics that we may not cover on Sunday morning. In this episode, we're talking about Christian marketing. Happy Friday, everybody. My name is Nate. I am the student pastor here at Eastgate and the producer of this podcast.
Hey, my name is Rob. I'm one of the pastors here at Eastgate.
My name's Janelle. I'm also one of the pastors here at Eastgate.
My name is Annie, and I'm the Kidsgate pastor here at Eastgate.
My name is Tyler. I'm the worship pastor here at Eastgate.
I'm Blake, and I am the community pastor at Eastgate.
For now.
For now. We'll see what happens by the end of the episode.
So today is Janelle's birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy
So
birthday.
we have to.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
We'll have to go around and say something nice to her.
Oh, this is
Okay.
fun. This
All
could be
right.
hard to narrow down.
Who's starting?
I'm going to just say what you said before the podcast started. It's just really hard. You make it really hard to like you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I couldn't think of a more hallmark sentiment.
Yeah. I'm
I'm gonna make eye contact till I get some compliments.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to try.
Wow, this is actually taking a long time.
Yeah.
And honestly,
I know what it is. I appreciate your...
Okay.
No, I'm just trying to find the right words now. Now I know what I know the compliment. I appreciate your intentional endeavors to know what the Bible is saying for how God wants us to live in this life, and I think that's kind of neat.
I think you're very easy to like.
I got one.
And I appreciate how much you listen and care.
Wait,
you already went.
Care to people?
Not you, Blake.
Shh, you weren't supposed to tell that part, Annie.
Maybe my birthday gift to Tyler is that he doesn't have to compliment me.
No, I appreciate how supportive you are and how encouraging you are to all of us.
Thank you.
I am just so grateful that you're my daughter, that you've always been such a delight in my home. You've grown to be such a fine woman who has done so many amazing things, a brilliant mind for administrative tasks, a passion for God's word. You're an excellent mother, and I couldn't ask for a better daughter. So I'm grateful that you're in my life.
Thank you so much, Nate. I'm excited about your compliment. Hit it out of the park. The other ones have been really good.
You're genuinely one of the most influential people in my life. I am inspired by your dedication to service, even despite the voices who are against you in that. And one of the first impressions I had of you, of your character, was when I first started working here, and how I like to use humor to deflect and defend myself. And you would just like genuinely listen to me, even when I made jokes, and I'm like, oh, wow, she actually cares what I think. So, yeah.
This made me feel so good about myself. Thank you, everybody. This is so nice.
Well, we made it all up.
I know. It's so fun, though. Keep doing that. Well, thanks. I'm really glad we rescheduled the podcast for my birthday. And don't feel like you have to bring out the balloons or treats now. We can do that at the end.
No, now you say something nice about all of us.
Well, no, but I was going to say, it was Tyler's birthday yesterday, so
Yeah.
should we all say something?
That was
nice
yesterday. We have to move on. His is the furthest away. It's 364 days away.
I think Tyler is one of the coolest people I know, and he just oozes aura.
Yeah.
Yeah. My sister-in-law also said that he looks just like Cat Stevens. So there you go, whatever that means. But I appreciate Tyler a lot. He's just stepped into this role of worship leader, and he's done such a great job with it. And he's humble and passionate, and it's a pleasure to work with you.
Yeah, I totally agree. The humility and the kindness and the attitude that you bring is so good for everybody who gets to work with you. But then not only that, you have this. I see you looking away, like, okay, we'll make eye contact. But not only that, but you're so talented with your voice and the worship that you bring, and it's just we're so blessed by all that you do here. So.
I really love how brave you are, that even when things are scary and outside of your comfort zone, that you step into those spaces, and just that you're willing to be open and grow.
Yay. All right, Blake.
Stretching
Now,
your
if this is easy for you to compliment him, I'm going to be mad. So go.
I really appreciate how you
Boy, he even got kind of like puppy dog eyes as he looked over it.
How-
His head tilted to the side.
how easy it is to speak with you because you have like a real non-judgmental attitude, and I know that I can be weird. And so whenever I'm talking
That's
to
true.
you, like
no,
you
it's
don't.
true. Oh, sorry. I meant
You're-
him being non-judgmental. Obviously.
Yeah, he's the one that's not judgmental.
Yes.
But no, it is. It's really cool to be able to speak with you about all kinds of things, and you give an honest opinion about it, and don't like tell me that I'm stupid for thinking certain things. So
Wait, who
it's kinda
does
cool.
that?
Tyler does. You guys should watch him and learn how to treat
who
me.
tells you you're stupid for thinking
Gosh,
things?
Blake, if people are being mean to you, you need to let us know.
Yeah. I mean, my goodness.
That is not
I can't believe
right.
this.
That is
I
not
almost
right.
threw
Terrible.
this mic through the window. Oh my gosh!
He does have
I'm
anger
going to get to
issues.
the bottom
I've
of
noticed
this.
that about him.
I'm going to get to the bottom of this and find out who is abusing our friend Nate. Blake, I mean.
Wow, for once I didn't get called Blake.
You're all Blake to me.
All right. What are we talking about?
Yeah, what are we doing here? What is this?
You take on everything that's given to you, and you don't ask questions or say no. You just take it on and you do it and you figure it out. I think that's really cool. Okay, so I'd like to be honest and say that when I see like Christian merchandise and churches selling themselves in like a business manner, that feels a little icky to me. And that's it.
That's
Do
it.
you have thoughts on like why it feels icky, or is it just like something in your gut is like, I don't like this?
I think it takes the heart out of it, and it becomes about, like the business or the merch. Like to be a Christian is to live a certain way essentially, and to conduct yourself with a heart posture that aligns with Christ. And go ahead.
Yeah, I think because I have the same kind of reaction whenever I see that kind of thing, but I feel like it's so convoluted in my brain because I know that we are called to share Jesus's good news, but that I don't know, it feels aggressive in a way.
Yeah.
Are you guys considered Gen Z?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, you're fitting all the your
We're fitting all the stereotypes.
not the stereotypes, but just
But
what
yes.
the research is showing it based on the polling data and the questionnaires that go out. Your generation has the same almost visceral reaction to this concept. I think this is fascinating.
I'm not. I like to say I'm not saying that I think that these are bad things necessarily.
Or that they're bad people.
No, yeah, we're going to
Yeah.
be very careful on that. We're not.
Yes,
we would ever be
I'm
saying
not, what's the word? I'm not trying to put down anybody.
Yeah, not trying to criticize or critique somebody else's approach to ministry. That's-
Exactly. There is an ickiness that I feel about it
Sure.
when it is done in certain ways, I guess.
And I'm curious too about that because I think that obviously there's nuance to it. Like we're talking about Christian marketing, but it's like, so if it's a T-shirt and if the T-shirt has just a Bible verse but not a brand, there's so many different levels that I'd be curious to know, like what part is it that, because I'm not saying I disagree with you. I get where you're coming from. I'm just curious as to.
I'm
maybe
wondering
know a
if we
little
would.
bit more.
Oh, go ahead, Blake.
Well, I was going to say, I'm going to have a better opinion than everybody here because I'm actually wearing an Eastgate brand shirt right now.
There we go.
That's probably why they feel nauseous. If you left the room.
I was going to say if he took his shirt off, but that might make it worse.
No, thank you.
I think that there's two avenues of this marketing, that the kind that really icks you out, and then the other kind that's, like what you were talking about, it's just a Bible verse or, something simple like that. Because I do return a lot of phone calls here or answer the phone here, and we get emails and stuff, there is a marked difference between somebody trying to do a ministry, and even though they might be trying to put their their brand on their ministry, and then there's other like actual business model. People literally trying to get us to pay for some sort of a marketing brand to give to our church so that we could put more people in seats and make more money. There's a marked difference between those two things.
And I think you're hitting on the real issue here, dealing with motive and also dealing with, I think we need to make a distinction between when we say Christian marketing at all, a distinction between that and church marketing. There is a distinction in that whole thing. And especially in the United States, where there's almost a sense of free market capitalism that has infected the church, where we want to, promote our brand and our stuff, and like you were saying, get as many people in the door as possible. And I think maybe it's possible that's the vibe that is creeping you guys out on this. But
you don't get creeped out by it?
No, I do.
Okay.
But not in a Gen Z way.
In like an old cranky sort of way.
Who just hates everything.
And I do understand that with the society that we live in and the economic system that we have, that, a church does need to operate like a business in certain ways.
I want to push back on that. I just feel like
Okay.
I understand what you're saying, and somebody could look at this and say, well, gosh, you take in an offering, so you've got resources that you manage, and you've got a staff and things, and that feels business like. I still think attitudinally we can keep ourselves from turning it into a business model by maintaining the familial construct in our, at least in our thinking on this.
So it'd be the same way that we have to be responsible with our household finances and household
Yeah.
funds and household maintenance. Keep fixing different things, or even making things nicer sometimes, and that kind of thing. But that's all for the family. That's so that you can create a place where your friends and family can come over and enjoy. You can be a good host to people and that kind of thing.
And we remember that ROI, return on investment, is a big deal within the business model. You got to have that, or there's no point in having the business, or you're going to fail. That cannot be part of the equation when it comes to a church. And there's the major distinction.
Well, that's where you believe it shouldn't be. It is.
What?
In a lot of churches, I think.
Oh no! Well, yeah, but I'm not here to.
But you believe,
I'm not here to speak for any other church except for
when you say
Eastgate.
it cannot be, it's not that it can't be.
I'm just saying
you believe
that,
it shouldn't be.
I believe it should not be within the construct of the thinking of a church. It's not return on the investment has already been made 2,000 years ago on the cross, and everything after that is us just trying to reflect the goodness of what happened there into the world around us. And so we may squander, things in an effort to show extravagant grace. That's not good. I don't mean squander. It's never going to be squandering, but we may be using resources or whatever in extravagant grace that doesn't have any sort of return that we're able to see. That means nothing to
or
us.
financially, it's a loss.
But it doesn't.
We give, and we know that money is not going to.
It's not ours to begin with.
Amen.
Is the whole point? Is that we're stewards of what it is that God's provided out of His storehouses.
So whenever I had my business, I had several people tell me that, like, oh, you need to put the ichthus on your, or the little fish thing on your logo.
Ichthus.
Ichthus.
You got, you need to market some kind of way that is Christian and that kind of thing. And there's a lot of that goes around as well.
And I talked to somebody one time who was not a believer or anything like that. Said, as soon as I see that fish, I avoid it. Because he said, I know what they're going to do is try to, I'm not saying everybody does this. I'm just saying that this person's perspective on that was that they're trying to use their faith as a way of trying to maneuver people and manipulate.
So one of Nate's favorite quotes, and I forget who said it, but the cobbler isn't known by, how does that, he's known by how good the shoes he makes.
There's like a shoe, and there's like a peach cobbler or something.
The peach cobbler is delicious and yummy. That's my quote. No, I think it was Martin Luther King.
Not Martin Luther, wouldn't it have been?
Martin Luther. That's right, Martin Luther, who said, "The good Christian doesn't put tiny crosses on his shoes, but makes good quality shoes, because
he's a Christian.
That's what God looks for,
Yeah.
essentially.
And that's the idea. Honestly, I mean, I hate the term marketing just because it carries with it a commercial sense. I had a youth pastor years ago, and he and I went round and round on this all the time because that was kind of his forte and field was marketing. Huh? It wasn't you, but and I understood where he's coming from. That you got to get the word out there. You got to make yourself known. I had somebody, leave Eastgate years ago because we weren't doing that. Just said, this, you just doesn't seem like you care. You're not marketing. You're not getting out there. You're not trying to get your name out there. You're not promoting your teaching materials and stuff like that. This just seems fruitless to me. And, I disagree with that. That's his perspective, and that's fine. I just think that back to the cobbler idea. The thing is, and this was a Chuck Smith quote to me when I first met him. He said, just make sure that you have the best fed, best loved people around, and God will take care of the rest. And I think that's the idea. Let's do our best to feed, to teach, to encourage one another. Feeding isn't just the teaching. It's caring for each other and the community that develops, and make sure that we're developing a culture that loves. And that, to me, and I'm thinking I'm probably wrong on this, but to me that seems like enough. Though, Matt.
So so I think it's really interesting. I think I agree with everything you're saying. So this isn't a like, but this is like kind of a yes and.
Exactly, and this is why it needs a plurality of leadership and voices and ideas. Because just because this is my perspective on it doesn't mean that that's got to be.
But I love that vision,
word.
and I don't want to lose that vision either. And that's where I'm trying to understand the balance, because I was thinking about when Eastgate first started 31 years ago. If you wanted to find a church, where are you going to find it?
Yellow Pages.
The Yellow Pages. And so Eastgate.
And we did do a Yellow Pages.
Did a Yellow Pages ad because we wanted people to know this existed.
To be able to find us.
Exactly. And so there was somebody I was talking to recently, I don't remember, a couple months ago, and they were saying that they found Eastgate back in the day in the Yellow Pages. And they said they had gone through so much pain from church experience and just, suffering, but felt like they believed in Jesus. And so when they found us in the Yellow Pages, because what did ours say? Was it burned out on church?
No. It was a coffee cup. We didn't.
No, but you had another one. You had a couple, because there was one that was like, come as you are.
I think that was the main thing. I mean,
there was one.
If you're bad at surfing, this is the place for you.
I'm sorry. I'm an old man, so I don't remember everything.
So, but anyway, it kind of shared Eastgate's heart in this little, tiny little Yellow Pages ad. And they said when they saw that, they were like, okay, well, maybe this is a church I'll try, because obviously our heart was coming through in that little tiny 1 by 2 inch ad.
Sure.
And they said when they came in, it was like cool water of like, oh, I didn't know this existed. And so I had this thought when they were telling me that of like, man, the Yellow Pages.
And they're still here?
They're still here. It's Dennis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I was thinking the Yellow Pages in that format doesn't really exist today. Mm-hmm. But I want people to know this is an option, and we were just having this conversation the other day with someone else, because, if you're in a church environment that is harmful and you think that's all there is for church, it's a logical next step to walk away from Christianity. I get that if you think that's what Christianity is. And so I do want people to know, like, those frustrations that you have are valid. Those things are there, and to have the opportunity to share heart. So I was trying to think, like, what would today's version of the Yellow Pages be? And that is where, we've kind of gone back and forth on like advertising on Facebook. We've done some of that for when we do worship night or when we have VBS. And I mean, it is the cheapest ads we could pick. I mean, we're talking like $10 to $15 budgets here. I know there are places that are doing like, $50 budget a day and year round kind of thing. And we're just like, well, here's $15, but it's like, we're just kind of dipping a pinky toe in that, because it's like, we don't want to be this church that's just focused on marketing, trying to sell, like we're trying to sell something, but trying to find that balance of, but how do we communicate? Like, I've thought about this podcast, like, man, I think it could be nice to sponsor this podcast with the way social media works. They are going to promote things that are paid for, and it gives people an opportunity to hear who this might help them. So that's why I'm curious, like, what are y'all's thoughts on all of that?
Are you saying that social media is trying to make money?
Yes, and that's but I also like we're working on like the Google ads as well, because like if people Google churches, like we're not the top one, and I don't need us to be, but I would like people to find us or know that we exist. And so, sorry, Nate, I know you want to say something too when Blake's done.
I think that it's kind of like whenever we do like a food drive or something that we're trying to give to the community, one of the hardest things is to let people know that it even exists, because we'll find out 2 weeks later, they're like, oh man, I had no idea that was out there. I could have used that. I mean, like, it's really hard to let people know that we've even have a food drive here. Whenever we did with the hand up, like, they had to do a lot of the marketing and things like that. So
it's true, because one time we did it so bad that when we were trying to give food away, people kept bringing us food and adding to our piles.
Yes.
And we're like, no, we're trying to give it away.
Yeah. And so the thing is that we have something that we're wanting to make available to people. You have to let people know that it is out there.
And we are a media-driven society. So there's
what?
a media-driven society. So
yeah,
so we can't really avoid.
So I do think that things like the podcast, the things like some of the short videos that we try and put out on Facebook and that kind of thing, we're competing against, in a sense. And I don't like the word competing, or competing against. I don't know how to say it, but basically, there is so much marketing out there that we have to be really careful about how we even come across that we're not trying to just be another.
Trying to add to the noise.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it feels gimmicky whenever we talk about, even putting the sign out by the road, like it turned into a thing.
We talked about it for so long. Yeah.
And it was Matt Green's idea, who was the worship leader before Tyler, and he had the idea for, I think, 8 years or something like that. And then we put it up the week that he left.
And now it's all faded out. You can't read it.
It looks terrible. And we should tell him that.
Yeah, that was thanks a lot for a terrible idea.
Yeah, it's faded. It looks like we don't even exist anymore.
Yeah,
what were you going to say, Nate?
Yeah. About like 2 years ago, we had a meeting because we had concerns about, not marketing, but like getting Eastgate out there to where the
Communicating.
people who are looking for
It was a
Eastgate
communicating meeting.
can find it.
Yeah.
So I guess we were just sitting here kind of hiding a little bit. And then, so we had that meeting and we brainstormed some ways where we could try to get ourselves out there to communicate who we are, to try and find the people who want to find us. And, this podcast was part of it, the road sign, trying to post more on social media. And that is the landscape that we have. That's the yellow pages now.
Yeah.
That's the landscape
Yeah.
we have to work in. And like you were saying, Blake, it's hard because there are so many different...
it just feels like you've got a little eyedropper that you're dropping into a fire hose blowing things out. Like it's just...
Right, exactly. So, and then like, I don't know. It's a tricky thing to balance is, like how much money do we allocate to advertising and stuff like that.
And so there's where I still come in saying that has to be the lowest of priorities, because I still believe. So like in the book of Acts, like as many were added to the church as the Lord intended or whatever, it's right after Peter gives his sermon on the day of Pentecost. And the wording there is the idea that like God's orchestrating this. He's going to, and I realize that it can become so passive that it all just disappears. And I don't want to do that. And I'm not trying to do that, but I do think that my extreme falls the other direction, that I feel like, gosh, people will find us. We'll stumble across people. If we're out, doing the good of the kingdom, it's going to get seen, not maybe on corporate outreach things. And see, there's the other thing, is that's where I don't know that the Bible ever really suggests that we're called to do corporate outreach kind of things, like a bunch of us going in and flooding an area and talking about Jesus or our church or something like that. I think the idea is in the lives that we live, in the world where we've been placed, we do good and we represent that reality, and it has an impact.
You've been wanting to say.
Yes,
Yeah. No, I mean, it's the same thing that you're saying of we have to find that balance of we don't want to be silent and hiding away,
Right.
but we want to trust that God is going to lead people who need to be here
Right.
here. I feel like what brings out that like icky feeling is when, especially growing up, hearing about all these scandals, being the curtain being pulled back in a lot of big churches, is that it feels like going that opposite direction of taking the reins and saying that we're going to go out and grab all these people and scoop them up instead of trusting God to work through that. And because, we don't want to be silent. We don't want to just sit here and be like, well, I guess they'll find us. God does
like
call
we're not
us.
playing hide and seek with the community.
Exactly, Marco.
Come find me. but that's where I think, too, though, it's interesting because there is a pressure in the community or in the church culture, especially as it has embraced the commercialism of our culture.
Yes. And like the advertising that you're talking about. I mean, I get that on a regular basis as well. Things that, here's
church.
what you can grow your church. You can do all this
Buy
stuff.
this sermon.
And that's what I
sermon
think is
kit
interesting, too, is like, that's what I think is interesting too, is this idea that like in order for a church to be successful, it needs to constantly be growing. That's a pressure.
Yeah, and I stand firmly against that.
That sometimes people are coming, and I feel like people have left as well. Of like, I've been here for years, it hasn't grown a bit. Like I'm going somewhere else because, like someone who's going to take it seriously. And I think that's a different measure of success than because to me it's successful that we've remained faithful and consistent with all of this, but there's a balance as well. Is that not to say so we get to put our head in the sand,
right?
But it's like these doors are open for everyone, and that's where I guess I don't know. So I guess I do feel like when I'm going to do those Facebook posts and advertising, I don't like feeling like almost like I hope people here's what I think genuinely. If I'm going to be honest, I think what will people who participate in our church think when they see an ad from Eastgate on their Facebook? Like, will they feel like, why is Eastgate putting ads out there? Will they feel like, not betrayed, but just like maybe suspicious or concerned? Or are they just like, oh, good, yeah, get it out there? Like, I don't know what the perspective is or what the perception is of that. And so I think that's even part of why I'm like, I guess here we're going to do an ad. I'm sorry, but also want people to know, that it exists.
Yeah. I mean, I think, to use an analogy, we're tending a garden. We're not stocking shelves. So we're not just gathering people and putting them on a shelves. People aren't objects. But we do have to put fertilizer in the ground. We do have to water the soil. We do have to, plant new life as we're going through this.
Did you make that up? Where did that come from?
Yeah. Probably the Holy Spirit.
We're tending a garden. We're not stocking shelves.
Yeah, it's a really good way to word that.
That's
it's
amazing.
very. I thought you were starting to quote Eugene Peterson, who does use the gardening farming analogy for church, but that's really wonderful.
I need to read more of him.
Oh yeah. But that would be the commercialist mindset. Is like we got to stock up and make sure we have enough. What were you gonna say, Blake?
So I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and they were talking. We just mentioned about them meeting somebody, and they were saying like, ask them something about that person's Christianity or whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, I guess I probably should have talked to them about God first. I was like, and I've had different people talk to me about like, what are you doing to, let the community to evangelize basically. And so I've likened it to me being married to Gwen. Like, there's no way that you can know me for more than a week or whatever, without knowing that I'm married. It's going to come up one way or the other. It's my life. My family is so incorporated in who I am that it'd be impossible to know me for any length of time without finding out about that just by accident, just by me talking, right? And so because I have a relationship with Jesus, people can't know me for too long without finding out, right? I mean, I'm reluctant to tell people that I'm a minister and that kind of thing, but I make friends with the people at the grocery store and talk to them and that kind of thing, and it works out really cool. I love how God does this kind of thing because they start to ask me like, well, how are you doing today? What'd you do? Like, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, it was on Tuesday whenever so I was like, well, I had kind of a hard day today, and what's going on? I was like, well, I'm a minister and this kind of thing. And so then we talked for like 15 minutes. I didn't try and get him to come to Eastgate, you know what I mean? But it comes up like it's a natural part of life, the way that these things work. So
that's the making the good quality shoes.
Yeah, exactly. And tending the garden, like you're describing there. And I think so. One of the arguments about why we need to do church marketing and why, and so we're kind of spilling the banks of this original thing into a different question, and that is about church growth. Is church growth really an important aspect of? Because largely that's what marketing is about, like to grow your church. And so church growth has been, ever since the 80s especially, has kind of been the baseline. Like, is your church growing? I got to say, when I was a part of a group, and we would have pastors' conferences when Eastgate was affiliated with a different group, and I would go to the pastors' conferences, and those were the questions, like, how are things going at your church? And every single one of them would answer with a number. Like, oh, we got, we're running about 80 to 90 people right now on a regular basis. Or others say, oh, it's just going crazy. There's 600 to 800 people showing up. And they'd ask me.
Membership is up 20%.
Yes. And they'd ask me, how are things going? I say, I'm kind of depressed lately. But we got a good community going and everything.
He didn't fit in.
I didn't fit in at all. But that's the thinking. Ever since we adopted the business model, that growth is measured in numbers of people involved, and the argument for that is yes, but that's the whole idea. You want it to grow because you want people to hear about Jesus. Hearing about Jesus is the responsibility of the church when we're out in the world, not when we're in this building. This building is a gathering place. So, and that's what we have to come back to. What is the purpose of the gathering of the church? Like, is it to evangelize?
The edification of the church. That's what the Bible says.
That's what he says in Ephesians. It's for the edification, the building up. But even better than that, the one that everybody goes to in Hebrews, that talks about don't forsake assembling together. Yeah. Well, when you look at it, think of ways, Hebrews 10, 24, let's think of ways to motivate one another, the acts of love and good works, and let's not neglect meeting together as some people do, but encourage one another, especially now as the day of the Lord is drawing near. So the whole point, the whole purpose, like we kind of skip that. Don't forget to assemble together. Why are we assembling? To encourage each other, to do the good works outside of this building in the world where we've been placed, so that the good news advances that way. This is for community building and edification. And I mean, I've been, people have not appreciated it for many, many years, but I've never been interested in growing a big church because it's too hard to form community with gigantic numbers.
I want to say like 18 years ago, we were still over there, and I was talking to you one day, and I'm like, man, this is such a good message. I was so on fire. Good gosh. So
what's happened to you?
Yeah. I've talked about you guys too long. No, but the thing is, I was talking to you about, I was like, man, more people need to hear this message. Like, this has got to get outside of these walls, and I'm going to be praying for growth, and just, I don't know why I was even thinking that way. And you said, yeah, pray for it to grow deeper, not wider. And I gotta say that has happened here at Eastgate.
I believe it has. I've seen
the depth of love
that way.
That is an undercurrent of this place. I mean, I am so energized on Sundays whenever everybody is. I mean, there is a flow here and a love. Anywhere I look, if I'm up on, trying to get people to be quiet for announcements, I mean, everybody's talking to one another, loving each other, hugging, and all kinds of stuff. After service is over,
known for its compassion. The group is known for its compassion and care.
And then after but everybody's like, people are genuinely friends and like actual brothers and sisters with each other. Whenever we're done, I mean, it's
people linger.
Hanging out here in the parking lot even after we have to shut the doors.
It's such a healthy thing.
Going to lunch with each other, helping each other, going and helping each other move and do all the time. It's just astounding to me.
I went and preached one time at a church that was part of the aforementioned group that we were part of, and it was a big church. I mean, it was a big church, and it was multiple services. And each time when the service was over, I was waiting to go and mingle with everybody and stuff like that. And I mean, literally, I would kind of blink my eyes and look up, and the place was empty, like like a hat spinning in the air as people bolted out of the door and stuff. And I mean, it was amazing to me how fast the place just cleared out after every single, even the final service. Like when we used to do 2 services, there would be that overlap. The people that were coming in, the people that were leaving, and they would all mill around. It was that was sweet. But then, the final service, people would just hang out, and that was an amazing experience because I'd never seen that before in my experience, where it just, dissipated quick.
I've been thinking about the way that before the podcast we were discussing how, the Holy Trinity is different components of the same God, and how through creation, Adam and Eve were both together the image of God, and how different churches can have different purposes and function in different ways, there are churches who feel that calling to be evangelists and pull people into this, and they're still getting to know God. They may not end up in that church. That church may not be the right fit for them. They may not thrive in that church. They may end up in a smaller church like ours, but that's still pulling them towards God.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to denigrate.
Yeah,
anything.
and I don't think that you have been. That's just something that's been kind of percolating in my brain.
Absolutely.
And I know that you don't want to denigrate, so I mean, like, I'll just say it's some of this stuff. Like what Nate was saying, some of it's really cringy to me. Whenever I see it, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of Jesus in it. Whenever I look at different people doing certain different things, I mean, people trying to sell sermons to churches around here, or sell, marketing and that kind of stuff. There is a temple type of feel to that. What I was saying.
What you're catching then is that no matter what, when you get something like this, this is a income generating process. So when the marketing side of this and the people that build the marketing tools, this is their livelihood. This is their income. They're certainly going to promote and push it. And that's, I think, what we begin to feel suddenly, that the commerce side of it is beginning to bleed into what the mission is. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's I think that's exactly how I feel about it when it becomes like selling in the having the market in the temple, like that. Yeah, that's what it feels like to me.
And that's that's the thing that we always want to remember. We were never called to market God. We were never called to market the gospel, or to and even marketing in the sense that we are not called to try to put out a good sales pitch for Jesus. That's not evangelism.
Okay, but what would you say? And I agree with you, but I do feel like the things I hear to counter that perspective are like, but we've been called to preach to, spread this to all the nations, and this is how we do that. And if this is what, gets people in the doors, because I know too, like they've talked about, like this is going to, we've talked about worship and how sometimes in churches that's kind of the style now, is to like make it seem like the best live concert you've been to and that you get to go to. And so because it's this seeker friendly model, what would you say to somebody who? Well,
for one thing, I am going to say that the seeker friendly model has only been around since the 80s, and it's already collapsing in on itself. All the data is there to show it. The one who was who founded the whole premise of this outside of Chicago, I'm not going to say the name, but came out a few years back, even before he fell in disgrace, and just said, this didn't work. This was wrong.
What didn't work?
It did not produce disciples. It did not produce people who were deeply connected to Jesus. It produced a lot of people who were deeply connected to a building and a program, but not necessarily Jesus. And I think that's problematic. And I think that that's the whole idea, is that the gospel and its spread is so much more personal than what our commercial mass media culture is attuned to. It's more like Jesus sent his disciples out 2 by 2 to go out and do what? Start a marketing campaign? To go stand on street corners and shout at people as they went by? No. He said, no, go into their homes and then do good. Do the good that you can do, that I've given you the power and ability to do. What's that? Break in and clean.
And clean, yeah.
Again, it's cultural transitions.
But I think that I hear you saying, and I guess I'm kind of, even with that seeker-friendly model, it's almost like if we take Jesus out of this and make it look really fun, then when they get here,
it's a bait and switch.
Yeah,
exactly. Yes, we'll make them think it's. So when I was a little kid, go ahead.
No, you can go.
When I was a little kid, my mom was so into health food. Like she was like, she read Mother Earth News and the Whole Earth catalog and all organic. I didn't even know there was such a thing as white processed sugar until I was like 10 years old or whatever, just insanely old to discover that. Because I always thought sugar was this dark, granulated stuff that never dissolved in Kool-Aid. And she would give me carob bars. Wrapped like a candy bar and stuff. And she'd say, this is a candy bar. This is great. It's just, it's as good as candy. Those other kids are eating candy. This is just like that. And I'd eat it and like, yeah, it's okay. This is okay. And then I eat a real candy bar and I'm like, holy crap. That's ridiculous. This thing's not even close to being a real candy bar at all. And this is my problem when we try to dress up Christianity in the world's kind of like we're going to compete with the world with our coolest concerts and our cool thing. We're giving carob bars out. This is Jesus though. It's good for you. It looks just like the other and it's packaged just like the other, but it's good for you and it won't hurt you. And it's awful.
It still hurts.
And it still hurts because it's nasty. But the point of that is that we were never called to try to disguise this as something else. We were never trying to make it, disguise it as the world and then sneak it into somebody's heart. That's just not the way this works. What you hear in secret, declare on the rooftop. Like, this isn't a secret knowledge that we're trying to slip into somebody's consciousness. This is a declaration, the kerygma, Jesus Christ and him crucified, risen again on our behalf to bring about a change in our lives and ultimately the restoration of this world.
Well, and that's what I'm thinking. It makes sense then why it wouldn't last, because Jesus is the only thing we know that can help us.
Right.
And so if we are removing that or hiding that,
or minimizing it
or watering that message down, then of course it's not going to be a sustainable thing. Right. And that's what I think is interesting too then, because basically then we've lost in that model and in that mindset, we end up losing the only thing that is beneficial to us.
Exactly.
And we've set that aside to try to get people in the door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's my whole thing. And this is really going off topic, but this is the whole thing as to why I stand firmly against interjecting politics into the church culture. Politics will not save us. Political parties will not provide redemption in any way. And once we start incorporating that, we've diluted the gospel. As far as I'm concerned, we've forsaken our calling as the church when we do that sort of thing. So I'll, with my last breath, stand against that. That's not going to happen.
The world is going to do what the world is going to do. That doesn't change our mission.
That's right.
Right.
What were you going to say?
I have a question.
Yes.
What do you guys think about our Eastgate shirts, though? Does it feel like, oh, hypocrites, you got Eastgate shirts and you sell them?
I don't think we're like going out and like here, buy this T-shirt. I think we have them available.
That's true, and they're kind of hidden.
And we also give them away mostly. And
message on them.
And that's like you go to a family reunion, and you get the shirt, and you're there with the family and stuff. That's how I kind of feel like a sense of community identity that comes along.
I think I would have qualms if we were like standing on stage and being like, "Hey, don't forget to go buy your T-shirt in the bookstore. Like, go buy that. We've got some new ones."
But if you get a T-shirt,
I
think that when
honorary member,
I think that we've notified the community if there's like a new T-shirt design, but we're not like, "Hey, go buy it." Yeah. We're not trying to pressure people into getting it. And yes, we give them away often.
Wants a shirt, they're never going to walk away without a shirt.
Right. But I also think that there's a certain messaging that we get across. Island of Misfit Toys, God's not mad at you, 3-star church, almost, so laid back, it's almost horizontal. These are quips to show that we don't have it together. That we're not trying to say that like we're the end all be all or we're way better than the church down the road.
We had somebody,
What story are you going to say? I was going to tell the story of somebody going into a cigarette shop.
Oh, no, you tell that. Okay. I got a different one, though.
Somebody was wearing our, because we have our Eastgate shirt, 3 stars from the actual Google review. And they go into a cigarette shop before church on Sunday. They're saying that they went in to buy their cigarettes. And the person goes, "What is with that shirt that you're wearing?" And they go, "Oh, yeah, it's from my church. It's 3 stars. They made it off a Google review." And they go, "No, that's the 3rd person this morning I've seen wearing it."
and where is this?
A smoke shop?
That's awesome.
Cigarette shop. Isn't that great?
Well, you know what I mean.
But I just love it.
Yes. That's the thing.
What was your story?
My story is somebody was wearing that when they were visiting with family, and their sister called them up and said, "This is a terrible idea. This is not good advertisement for your church. That's not going to make people want to come to a church. I wouldn't want to come to a 3-star church." So, in that sense, you could say that we're kind of anti-advertising.
Anti-marketing.
Yeah, I feel like I was just reminded of something that you said before. Now it's already gone out of my brain. Dressing up as respectable. That we're not trying to dress ourselves up as respectable and pretending to be above humanity.
Right.
We are human beings. This is a church for humans, run by humans, and we are trusting that we're led by God. And I think that there can come across, if we're trying to push
Yes,
a different image,
I get what you're
that
saying.
becomes problematic.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. I mean, that's the thing, is that we never want to present ourselves as people that have it together, because that's a mythical beast, as I've said before. That's the myth of the good Christian, something all of us have to try to escape from.
And I know you've had people disappointed in you for saying that and believing that as well.
Man, yeah.
Me included. No, I'm just kidding. but just this thought of like, no, you're not presenting it as like this transformative life, and you are saying I am, but we're not just going to pretend like we don't have problems anymore. That I'm
Right,
this
or
perfect-
that we've made it, or that anybody's made it. Apostle Paul makes this statement saying, "It's not that I've achieved it, but I press towards the mark," and that's the whole thing. We want to keep moving in that direction, haltingly, fumblingly, but we go.
Right. So as we're ending here, Robbie has joined us.
We started by saying one nice thing about Janelle and one nice thing about Tyler for their birthdays. So now it's your turn.
Oh, no pressure. Let's see. There's so many. Janelle is my youngest daughter. I'm very proud of her. And the way I always see her is she has taken a scrap of things that Rob and I are interested in and made it bigger and better than anything we could ever do on our own. And
that's a
I'm
great
always
way to word that.
impressed by
thanks.
by your skills.
Thanks, Mom.
Yes. And Tyler, you, let's see, I'm trying to think of all the compliments my sister gave you the other day.
I already talked.
Okay. Okay, so I'll
She's
skip
famous
those
now.
then. Those are done. But you're just probably one of the most, I can't imagine the self-control you have in not being able to talk. I at the end of the day, I sit down and go over my list of regrets of things I've said. And I thought, Tyler doesn't have anything. What would that be like? I need to be more like Tyler. Can we all be more like Tyler? So anyway, you're a wonderful human being. I enjoy getting to hear you speak more now that you're a worship leader. You can speak, but I think you weigh your words very carefully, and I think that's a great gift.
Thank you.
Cool. So let's real quick. I was looking up some curriculums, pre-made curriculums, and they're like in the thousands of dollars
Correct.
For adults or children or
for
both?
children.
Oh, I know. We used to pay like $5,000
Aghast. I was shocked.
a year.
I was like, this is Christian curriculum,
Yeah.
and we're charging thousands for it.
Well, I mean-
Actually, we used to pay. I think it was $4,000 a year. I think, if I can remember it right, I think because it was $2,000 for the youngers and $2,000 for the olders. That's just for the right to download the files.
So the
But we write our own now.
Yeah, but speaking of,
well, I mean, look
Another thing you do well.
but the other thing too is that like all the songs that we sing on Sunday morning, we have to pay licensing fees.
Yep.
We paid, the.
yeah.
How does that make you feel, Rob?
Oh, I got opinions.
I remember whenever you first started coming up with the curriculum, you had to correct me, Janelle. Whenever you first came up with that curriculum, and I was looking over it, I was like, man, there's a lot of gold nuggets in here, man. This is really, really good. And I was like, people need to know about, like, there are people that sell these things.
This is
and
like your
you need
go-to. Like this is the second one you told. Like, we got to sell this stuff.
Yeah, and I told Janelle, I was like, man, you gotta, like, why would you not sell this? I forgot exactly what you said, but it was something along the lines of
Back
how
up,
much
like,
would you say that the Word of God is worth to kids? Like, you put a price tag on it. I was like, all right, sounds good.
$10,000.
A year.
$1 million.
Yeah, well, and the thing that's nice is that I feel like my curriculum is not that great, so it's not like it's a great loss to the world.
That's not true.
But I would
It's very
say,
good.
well, thank you, Annie. But But yeah, no, I agree. I think that it was one of those things. Blake is not the only one who has suggested that, and not that people are evil to suggest that. I completely understand, especially in the world that we live in.
Mm-hmm.
That's like that's the rational next step. Like, you have something good, let's determine the value of it,
Yep, and
so that
market
way
it.
we can decide that it's valuable once we put a price tag on it. And so, very glad to not do that.
I think it's we're putting the gospel behind a paywall.
Mm-hmm.
And I it's just like if I've
That's
gone
a
through the
great
Bible,
phrase. I like that.
It's good, but it hurts my heart. But in the
yeah,
right
that's
way.
a great phrase.
if I've gone through the Bible and God has revealed something to me and I've studied something, I want to share that good news. I want
Right.
to go out and share that with people. This is what the conclusions I've come to with this. This is what God has revealed to me. Putting it behind a paywall feels wrong to me.
The guy that formed Family Danielson, that band that Sufjan Stevens was a part of. Not he went off before, but he grew up in a Christian home and largely was doing, I guess it was Christian music. It was hard to explain, but then somebody asked him about it. Said, is this Christian music? And he goes, I don't believe there's such a thing as Christian music. And I agree with him on this, but his reasoning was, and I thought it made you step back for a minute. He goes, if there was such a thing as Christian music, it would be free. And everyone would share it, and we'd all use it together for the glory of God and for the benefit of others. But he said there's nothing like that in our present world. So he said there's no such thing as Christian music. And I can't disagree with that. That's exactly right. Freely you have received, freely give. That's one of the things that Keith Green ran into when he became a believer, and he was a Christian artist back in the 80s. And he didn't want to charge for his music, and he got a record label, and the record label said, well, we charge for music. Sorry, that's the way it goes. He refused to do it until they put a little disclaimer on it. At the bottom of every album, it said, if you can't afford this album, please write to such and such and such, and we'll get it to you for free. So, I mean,
Awesome.
it is possible. I believe it's possible, even in the environment that we're in, to maintain a Christian ethic as it touches commerce and money. But it's a challenge, and it's ongoing.
I want to say too, for like the kids thing, I get to, like, they have staff involved that that use to make that, and so
Right.
I don't know what those costs are.
Right. I understand that, people, we need to survive,
Right.
live, and in the world that we live in, the society that we live in, that's, we have to have money and to pay for
But that's probably
housing and
the
clothes
number
and
one
stuff.
curriculum in the country that you're referencing, because it's what we used to use too. And I think 90% of churches in Bay County use that curriculum.
I looked up more curriculums. I'm like, is this standard? Are all of them this expensive?
Yeah, because I'm familiar with it because we used to use a cheap curriculum where it's like they gave you a little booklet, but there was no crafts or activities with it. So each week is like you read a Bible lesson, you do the crossword, and you go home. Like, that's it. And there's a little picture in the booklet. And I was like, man, I feel like we could do more. Like, I'd love some interactive things. And so when I tried to find other curriculums, they were either cheap and not fully formed, or they were incredibly expensive, like that one. And the problem with the one that we had, is that it was like meant for like large stage areas. So we were constantly having to like reformat this curriculum we had paid for to fit our church style. And so then that was kind of part of the decision to scrap that and do it ourselves.
Okay, so that's it.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Happy birthday, Janelle.
If you, the listener, have any questions, or if there's something you want to learn more about, you can send us an email at egcfpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening.
You need to do the bop.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to take it from you. That would be rude.
She's going to do it as soon as you do it.
Bop.
Happy birthday, Janelle.
Thank you. Woke my kids up singing happy birthday to me. And then they said, happy birthday, Mom. And I go, oh, yes, thank you. You didn't have to do that.
Did they sing it to you at 3 in the morning?
No. She woke them up singing happy birthday to herself.
Like you guys haven't done that.
That's right.
They do it every year.
Birthday to you.
All right, we got to do a bop, 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 bop.
You make it so hard to like you.
It's so hard to be a Christian around this person.
Why?
Wait, now you just bopped. You can't keep talking after the bop. The rules are the bop is silence, and then we start.
All right, Nate, you bop it out.
Bop. Wait, no, see.
There's going to be too many stinger endings to choose from.
Dad's looking like he's giving up on life, so I
3, 2,
think
1.
we're ready.
Bop.